that takes me to a story. I was in North Carolina. My dad was at a Duke Diet and Fitness Center trying to lose weight so he can get a hip surgery. And we were sitting down listening to a scanner, and a police scanner.
Oh, yeah.
And they were like, we got a 748, which is like someone with a knife.
Yeah.
Or we got a 562, it's a robbery in progress. And then, and I'm not kidding, the cop says, we got I don't know the code. We got a naked guy with a gun. So there's no code for that.
Yeah.
All right.
No. We have the same thing with because of the hospital that I'm at.
Everything is a code, right?
Well, no. Because we're what's called a base station. So the ambulances will call us, like either if they're bringing something to us that has a certain level of acuity, or if they're going to another hospital that isn't a base station, they call us for if they need extra orders to give us a heads up that they're coming. And then we get ready for them, or we prepare the other hospital that they're going to.
Got it.
But we have codes for like we have like a respiratory distress other.
What is it?
That has a number. I don't know it off the top of my head.
You
There's
don't
like
know?
a thing.
Come on,
I don't
Jen.
know off the top of my head. I know it's R dot is the because it's respiratory distress other.
You said so many things just now that I don't understand.
It's okay. And then we have one for like if a patient comes in and like is like misusing the like the paramedic services or well, I think it's
what's the misusing of like you're just trying to get a ride from
yeah.
one
So a
place
lot
to
of people think that if you call 911, you'll get in faster. Which like if we have a ton of people in the waiting room,
but it has to be an emergency.
It has to be an emergency. But a lot of people come by ambulance not an emergency because they think it's like a fast pass or something.
Right.
So if they don't meet certain criteria, they go to the waiting room.
Right.
So and that's a particular code. So there's a code for everything.
When you said that your hospital is a base hospital, what does that mean? Base.
It means that we are basically a touchstone for paramedics and like the LAFD and the Burbank Fire Department. So like I said, when they have, it's a difference between ALS calls, which is like a higher acuity and requires more specialty. They have to call us and let us know they're coming to the hospital or going to another hospital, which we then call that hospital. We're like a liaison if they need further treatment or a liaison of them bringing, ambulances.
It's very cool. I love that you're a nurse. It's so
Thanks,
awesome.
David.
And I love that you work at the hospital that I was born
at.
Isn't that crazy?
It's such a weird small world because Disney's right across the street. It's bizarre.
That's what we lived in the Palisades.
Yeah.
Right. So for people who don't know, that's a good like 45 minutes away.
Yeah.
At least. And my dad was doing the Dean Martin show at Disney Studios.
Amazing.
And so that my dad could be there, my mom drove herself
in
labor to the Burbank Hospital.
From the Palisades? Oh, geez, Louise.
Isn't that crazy?
Your mom was such a badass.
Yeah, she was.
Okay.
Amazing. Okay.
So Alex is saying that she needs to tell Harper she's a wizard because she's sick of lying to her. Justin's hesitant because he's like, mortals are blabby. They just run their mouth. And Hugh suggests that Alex surprises Harper because nobody but your friends know what you like and proceeds to give Justin a can of sprayable cheese, which he's like, oh, thank you.
Which was so weird. I'm sorry. I apologize to everybody. But the cheese thing, and then when you got it was silly string.
It was silly string.
I mean, I would have preferred like an actual cheese thing.
I don't think you get the distance. I don't know if you get the same like trajectory that you do with like silly string. But I felt the same way I did about like the yogurt. Like to me, it didn't look like yogurt. To me, it looked like colored mashed potatoes.
Oh yeah, exactly.
So yeah, to me, it looked like silly string. It didn't look like sprayable cheese. So Harper comes up and tells Jerry goodbye, since she and Alex are no longer friends. But she'll come back around when her and Justin start dating.
Wait a minute. I have to tell you, I missed an opportunity here. Because we had a nice little moment there.
I know.
In line when you came up, and I was like, fuck, David, you missed this sweet moment that we could have had where
But it was so quick.
Yeah, but it was my priority in my mind was I got to get out of line. I don't want to be in line anymore.
That would have been Jerry's priority.
I know, but there was a good little moment that I in looking back on it, I wish that I gave you a hug, but I wish that there was a little more to that moment with you.
I think probably Harper and Alex have gotten in fights before, and she's probably done this dramatic goodbye, and Jerry's like, "You'll be back around tomorrow."
Okay, there you go.
You know what I
didn't-
mean?
Yeah, yes. Thank you for making me feel better.
I got you. No, I don't think he missed a moment. It would have been weird if it was like a super dramatic moment. And then we're kind of back to what you were talking about, which is Jerry tries to trick Harper back into line until Justin shows up and challenges Harper to a duel. Everybody's dueling in this episode.
Right.
This is Battle Diva,
Right.
PopCon,
Battle
duel,
Royale.
Battle Royale. And Harper's very excited because she's now part of a love triangle between Justin and Jeremy from Science. He then sprays her with cheese, ruining her costume, which is also very mean. And then Alex surprises Harper with the enchanted Battle Diva costume, but not for Alex, for Jeremy from Science. That's who it's from. This is where you challenge Max to a wrestling match, waiting in line. Teresa gets a balloon hat and finally gets to the front of the Battle Divas for her autograph, and then challenges her to a duel. So we've got a Justin Harper duel, we've got a Jerry Max duel, we've got a Teresa and Battle Diva. Everybody's
dueling.
fighting. Everybody's dueling. And then she gets her autograph. We duel. Then we're backstage at the costume contest. Justin's upset at Alex because if Harper shouts Battle Diva's cry, it's going to activate the enchanted costume's powers.
Guess what happens, everybody?
I don't know.
Do it again. Do it again.
Battle Diva, rise to the stars where you belong. It's weird
You
that
become like a 40s person there a little bit. No?
that was what made sense to me at the time.
Yeah, no, I love it.
So, but yeah, so you get her powers of flight, super strength, laser vision, super speed, and the ability to make people repeat themselves, which again, I don't know what the point of that is.
And you get to fly with the fire coming out of
My boots.
Yeah.
But
Okay,
then,
so I have to ask you a
yes,
question.
please.
So now you're up there.
Yeah.
Right? You're flying.
Mm-hmm.
Now this is Harper.
Yeah.
What is she thinking? That she's flying with fire coming out of her boots and she's up there on stage. What,
To me, so at the time, I remember justifying it as like Harper is so, especially at that early stage of her life, like the early seasons, she is so about love wherever she can get it because her home life was so not a loving space.
Right.
So whether it's from Justin, whether it's from Alex, whatever validation she can get. So there's a moment at the beginning when I go up in the harness where she's freaked out, but then
Right.
she sees that she's getting all this love from the audience and quickly just is like, this is great. This is what I've always wanted,
But you know what's so funny? Like that's happening, and then later when they rig it up so that it looks like you actually go, oh, where did those ropes come from? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was tricky. You
Yes.
made it work.
Thank you.
And I'm not complaining. I'm just saying.
No, I don't think you're complaining.
It was.
It's a valid thought.
Well, there was just so much happening with you flying and being in the air, and I'm talking about suspensive disbelief. You got to just be in it.
I think with Harper, there's people where it's like if they think too much about something, all like the demons and the trauma come up. That was my thought process with Harper. She never thinks about things too deeply because otherwise all the mean scaries deep inside come
it's
up.
about acting. It's justifying what's happening.
Yeah.
So you justified it by, she's getting all this attention. She's always wanted to win the costume contest, and that's what's happening.
Yeah. But that's kind of what I like about acting is sort of like the puzzle pieces you sort of have to put together and filling in the blanks, right? Of like the writers can't do a backstory for every single character. So filling that into where it makes sense to you in the performance, I find really fun.
You did well.
Well, thank you very much. My little 14-year-old self, which by the way, can I just say, it broke my heart a little bit watching this episode. Because I remember, I felt like such an awkward teenager, and I remember feeling so fat in that outfit, and I remember feeling like I had such back knee. There's one over-the-shoulder shot where I'm like, there's all my little acne, and I look back at that, and I was like, I wish I could just go back and hug her and be like, you look great, chill out.
You do, and you know what? I get that was in your mind, and I have that. I wasn't on television when I was 14, but I think we all have that a little bit, and nice. So you're going back and you're letting everybody now know that it's okay to be you and accept yourself and be loving. And I did see that you had back showing and arm showing and showing, but I didn't see any acne. I didn't see anything bad.
Well, but
when I
also
was
too, it's
watching.
yourself. You're gonna be so because you spend all the time with yourself and I just remember being so insecure and feeling like. I remember, it's so painful to look back at, but there was
sorry.
No, I put it in its place, but it's painful because I want to go back and I just want to hug 14-year-old me and just be like, it doesn't matter as much as you think it does. And you've so like made it so much worse in your head, which I think we all do when we're teenagers. But I remember like Selena and I were backstage at the like costume thing. And I remember like touching her collarbones and being like, oh, you're so skinny, which I had struggled with like eating disorders from like 11 on. And I was kind of like sort of I was still in the middle of it, but it had just sort of changed in the way that it existed in my life. It wasn't quite as like, you know, don't eat and wake up super early, but it still existed. Like that thought process was still there. And I remember touching her collarbone and being like, you know, oh, you're so skinny, which I found out later she was really insecure about being skinny. And then she was like, well, you have the same thing. And it's just crazy to me how much time we waste having this like body dysmorphia about things, you know?
Well, I mean, listen, this business, you know, like even if you're not in the business and just being in kind of Los Angeles, there's this bar that everybody is setting and, you know, on you know, filters and all these things. But what we're doing now is telling the younger generation
that you're exactly as you are, you're okay.
You're wise and telling them that now we don't have to do that. We don't have to see that.
Which
you
is
know,
such
in
a waste
ourselves.
of energy.
And looking at the positives, seeing what the nice things are about ourselves and focusing on those things. I'm a big component of the energy we put into the positive kind of comes back. You know,
1,000%.
Like you put out positive stuff into the universe and the universe reflects that back on you. And if you put out negative stuff, the universe puts that
and
back
I think
at
it's
you.
natural with time to also just realize like how much you waste time and energy, like you were saying, on something so negative when it's like your body is going to change and you're going to be beautiful in every single iteration of yourself as long as you're healthy, as long as you're together. And then it's something that I wish I could go back and hug little me, and I wish I could hug the people that are going through their teens right now, because the stuff we fixate on before we have a broader perspective of the world, it's like it doesn't matter whether you have the popular thing, whether you're this size, whether you have the, you know, cool partner or whatever, whether you're all that bullshit. It doesn't matter because it's like it's in 10, 15, 20 years, whatever, you're not going to even remember what you were so insecure
but they
about
don't
or
know
why.
that at the time.
I know.
You know,
it's
so
all
tricky.
relative, but I just want to hug my little self and all the other little peoples out there.